Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hello, everybody. It's Becky Brown, and I am so excited to introduce you to our newest radio host, who's also just happens to be our Every Man's Battle presenter. It's JJ West, who is a licensed counselor and a workshop presenter. He's been part of our counselor network for many years, and I'm so excited for everybody to get to know you, JJ. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Becky. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad too. And I'm hoping that you'll get to answer some calls. And, our Every Man's Battle community is, it is so big. We've helped so many men over the years. And I am so grateful that we have been able to offer this to so many people. But JJ, what are the biggest challenges for men that come to Every Man's Battle? What are some of the things that they're dealing with, or maybe they've tried and they can't get over the issues that keep them stuck in a life of not sexual integrity, but lack of sexual integrity?
That's a great question, Becky. The number one thing that guys get stuck on is shame. They don't come to get help because of shame. They feel like maybe they're the only person or one of just a few people who struggle with this particular issue at the level that they do. And so they stay in hiding. They keep it a secret. They don't reach out for help. They don't ask friends for help. They don't talk to a pastor. They don't call New Life. They don't go to a workshop because they feel so ashamed of who they are. And it's actually the shame that continues to perpetuate the behavior because they're trying to escape from the shame. And so they go and then they engage in sexual acting out behavior of various kinds, which only further establishes, solidifies, concretizes their shame. And so they stay stuck in that cycle.
And it affects their families. It affects their work life. I know that we've heard so many stories where it has just wreaked havoc in so many ways.
Yes. And they've been trying. It's not like most of the guys who at least make it to a workshop, the guys that I've worked with in my office, the guys that I've done groups with, they've tried. It's not like they're sitting around going, well, it's not that big a deal. I don't really care. It's really, she has a problem with it, but I don't. Most of the guys, they've been trying for the majority of their lives to break free from this. They've tried to quit looking at porn. They've tried to quit going to the strip clubs or the massage parlors or whatever it is that their acting out behavior is. They've tried and tried and tried, and they failed and failed and failed. And so they feel really hopeless. They feel like there's just no possibility that they can change, and they give up.
Well, and we know, because we've seen it so many years, the power of the group process that they experience at Every Man's Battle, where after they hear the amazing presentations by you, they go into a group where the men who have been there and done that, they've worked their own recovery, have experienced that freedom and walk them into that new life. Where is that passion coming from for you? Why is this so important for you to be able to present this to these men?
Well, I say this all the time. I'm one beggar telling other beggars where to find bread. This is my own story of sexual brokenness that started very, very early for me, 5-6 years old. And all those things that I said that have kept other people from getting help, that was me too. And
I love that.
For me to be able to say, hey, I didn't make the bread. I didn't buy the bread. I just found the bread, and I know you're hungry too, so come eat.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I want to invite you, if you're listening and this is part of your story, we can help you. Just give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and we'll be back after this.
it had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is going to Washington, D.C., March 31st to April 2nd. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I am so glad you joined us. And by us, I'm talking about Dr. Jill Hubbard, who is with us in California.
Yes, and so fun to hear some of JJ's story. Love it.
Yes, and JJ West, who is joining us from from Florida. So we've got coast to coast. We're all over the place.
A triangle here, aren't we?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. I'm in the heart of it all in Ohio.
The heart of it all.
That's what we call ourselves here in Ohio, in case you didn't know.
Okay.
But, we're going to be taking calls, and we're going to go right to the calls right now. We're going to hear from Elizabeth, who's calling us from Philadelphia, listens on WFIL. Hi, Elizabeth. We're glad you called. How can we help you today?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I'm really struggling right now. My husband and I are devout Christians. We are a blended family, and we've been having a lot of issues over the last, really accelerating over the last few years with one of our daughters, my stepdaughter. She seems to be extremely fixated on money and more entitlement, and it got to the point where we just kind of really weren't speaking. And we haven't really spoken to her in about 15 months. I think one of the hardest things was she turned her two children away from us, where they wouldn't even speak to us. That was the most hurtful. And my husband had spoken to her once or twice, and, she just said that she's just not ready to talk to us. So she just had another baby last week, and all of a sudden, over the last 6 weeks, she'd been reaching out, and it's very hard right now because as a Christian, we're supposed to forgive, and I do forgive her for all of this. I think my struggle is having a hard time disseminating what is real, and now that she's had another child, I feel like, are we just setting ourselves up again that if she doesn't get the monetary things that she seems to feel she's entitled to, that it's just going to happen again? And I did tell my husband, I feel like I don't want to just walk into this relationship without clearing the air and maybe setting some ground rules that, we want to be a loving family, but it's not about money. And I don't think that she wants to have that conversation.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start with Jill, and we'll see how we can help you, Elizabeth.
Oh, Elizabeth, these issues are so hard in families because they are polarizing, and a lot of times you don't even know what you did or what the crux of it is. Elizabeth, how many kids are there in this family?
There's 5 altogether.
5 kids. And where does she fall in the lineup?
Oldest.
She's the oldest? Okay, she's the girl and she's the oldest. So, and how long have you guys been married?
12 years.
12 years. Okay. Well, in blended families, the hard part is the kids came first. right? And so as a family starts to blend, and it takes a long time. I mean, you've been in this 12 years. It can take a decade to really blend a family and to feel like everything is ours, because as you know, there's a lot of mine and yours, and the kids are always jockeying for position, because even though they gain something, they also lose something. I don't know what's particular to this daughter and why she has this sense of entitlement, but there's something underneath it. There's a hurt, there's a slight, it could be perceived. Or she was the oldest and maybe she had to step in a lot, right? And now she doesn't have to, but feels like she's deserving as a result of that. Sometimes there are, historically family things that kids hear and think they hear that somehow sets them up in a position, and now why isn't the family cooperating? I think there's a lot of digging that has to take place, and so it's as hard as it is, you're always in the position of parents, no matter the age of your children. And so to be able to lean in and acknowledge that, blended families are difficult, and probably you guys didn't do it in the best way or didn't do it right. And what are the hurts that she has? Are there areas of hurt that they don't understand, that they have neglected to see, or that you have neglected to see? Sorry.
That's okay.
And do you know the answers to any of those questions, Elizabeth?
I do.
Okay.
She did say that when my husband and I got together, she was so happy because, we were so suited for each other. But it was very challenging with me in the beginning, because she said that he always worked when they were young, and she was very jealous of me. But we seem to have moved past it. Like this situation ebbs and flows constantly with her. And we try so hard. I mean, we've been so generous with all of them, with her so much, and it's never enough. It's never enough. My husband was going through cancer treatment, and she asked him how his will read, and he said it gets split 50-50, with, me, and then split when I would pass. And she said, well, you worked all the time, so I didn't have a relationship. I just want money. And it's just always about money. No matter how hard, it's never enough.
Right. And so in those ways, I think giving what you can, right, in terms of what you want to give, but not trying to give to appease her, because it won't work, which means it's setting some boundaries, which are loving, right, because boundaries preserve relationship. But the person on the receiving end at times won't like that and will be mad, right? Because if they can get you to keep giving, and that's what they're focused on, is like the consolation prize, then they're going to just try to get that, right? So you're going to have to say no to her, and you've already seen she gets mad, right?
Yeah.
And
don't you think too, Jill, when you're talking about like you're changing the rules, and so that's gonna be a new way forward. But let's hear what JJ has to say, and then see where we come out with this.
All right. Hopefully you can hear me. I lost
Yes,
a little bit of a connection here, but I'm glad to be on with you. And Elizabeth, thank you for the call. Elizabeth, did your stepdaughter ever share with you and your husband why she separated and why she separated the grandkids from you?
No, because she refuses to have that conversation. And that's where I feel like there needs to be boundaries set moving forward. And as Christians, we just want our family to be together. A lot of prayer has gone into this. But she just seems shut off to having that conversation. She just wants to move forward, which makes me I just don't want to set ourselves up for more hurt again.
What does she think moving forward looks like if we're not going to talk about whatever the wounds were to begin with?
That's what I don't know, and that's where I'm struggling.
So what would be a good next step for her, JJ or Jill? Which one? What would be the next step?
Well, I would, at the very least, I would ask, well, I would start with a statement. We love you and we want to have a healthy relationship with you. But we are struggling with knowing how to do that because we don't know how we've harmed you or what the wound is. And if you could, at the very least, let us know what is keeping you from even being able to talk about what's happened. Could we go to therapy together? Is there somebody that we trust that we could all go together and have a safe place to talk about these things so that we're not just trying to sweep everything under the rug and pretend it didn't happen, but we actually are able to have a healing conversation or series of conversations.
Hmm.
Do you think
Yeah,
that's
I like that
possible,
idea.
Elizabeth? Do you think that she
We
would
could
be open
certainly
to that?
try.
And
We could try. Yeah.
sometimes, Elizabeth, when people aren't willing to talk, ask her to write it. Or you
That's a great
you
idea.
write to her everything JJ just said,
Yeah.
right? And kind of, so you're doing something different. So what you want to do is not have the same old song and dance, right? So you want to shift it a bit. And so maybe if you write it, that then she may receive it differently. She can sit and review it and think about it, right? And now you can put something out there, but realize she may not want to do that. But I think the emphasis is on, we want relationship with you. We want to heal the past if we can. But regardless, we want to move forward feeling, more connected to you and being there in a way that maybe we weren't in the past, if you'll allow us to.
Well, and you know what I was thinking too, and we talk about this a lot in families where there's been divorce. She's experienced, a separation at a young age, and so there's some wounds there that she may need to do
Right.
that aren't because of you. It's just part of her life experience. And Jill, you said earlier about as parents, we don't grow out of that role, but what we do is we move out of the parenting
Right.
part of that role. And so we move into those adult relationships. And I would say, Elizabeth, if you start off with, okay, here's the ground rules in order to go forward, you're probably not going to get a good response from her because she's on the defense. So I love what you're saying, JJ and Jill, both, that, we're just looking to understand and then to create a future relationship so that we can have that connection. And she's probably pretty tender right now, just having a baby.
Well, right. And
that's timing is not good.
Right. Right. So, through it all, you continue to be loving with her. And in terms of money, maybe you offer to pay for therapy for her. That would be a way you could give.
Either that or, Elizabeth, if she has started to reach out, when you respond to her in love, and you can do what Jill just said, you can offer therapy or whatever. But I'm just thinking in terms of, if she just had a baby and she's got other children, she needs love and care. And then that is how you move forward in reconnecting with her. I just think showing that you are a safe person, that, and I'm not saying that you just put up with everything. I think that's the balance, isn't it? It's just, trying to, how do we repair the past, create a new future together?
Well, right. And Elizabeth, you kept saying, how do I not set myself up for hurt? You don't ignore that the past exists, right?
Right.
So your heart is going to be a little bit guarded, but you lean in, you just don't give her your whole heart.
That's right. Well, and it's like what Dave Stoop used to say all the time is, we forgive, but we don't always forget. And there's a reason for that, because we're learning from that. JJ, you got anything else for Elizabeth as we go?
No, I think it's been well covered, but it's taking that step of taking the risk that yes, I might be hurt, and I'm going to allow God to be my shield and my defender as I move into this emotionally, relationally dangerous situation, so that there's a hope for healing, but recognizing there's risk here.
Yeah, Elizabeth, we're going to send you a copy of Dr. Jim Burns' book, Doing Life with Your Adult Children.
And what about How We Love Our Kids? Can we
and
send
we'll
her
send
too?
that too. We'll
Okay.
send How We Love Our Kids. I'll do a Steve move on that one.
Yeah.
But we just know that it's difficult. This is similar to what we talk about at our Courageous Parents Workshop. We talk about those adult relationships with the people that we brought into the world, and how things change over time, and how do we stay connected to folks that we either raised, like in step families, that happens, or that we gave birth to, but somehow we've gotten off the track and we've been disconnected. If you're interested in joining us at the Courageous Parents Workshop, you can give us a call or look at newlife.com and click on the events. You'll see it there. We have workshops coming up all the time because we want to help you move forward. This Saturday, actually, we're doing an online Lose It for Life workshop, and we've been doing that for 20 years. We've been helping people figure out what they have been feeding, what the weight is all about, because it's not just about the diet. We're going to be joined by Michelle Spatafora, Steve Arterburn, and we're going to have our breakout groups. And online is so convenient. You can, tune in from anywhere. We have folks that join us from all across the world and begin a new life in a new direction with hope. We're going to be back after the break. We're going to talk to Angie right after this.
We have been estranged off and on for 10 years or more, and he has a lot of grievances and anger and bitterness and hatred toward me.
Our daughter is the problem. She said, I don't want to be in your life right now.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here. Courageous Parents, transforming relationships with your adult sons and daughters. It's an online workshop with Dr. Jim Burns, Dr. Jill Hubbard, and me. I think it will change the way you see your adult children.
I was never prepared for doing life with my adult children. Some of our kids bumped and violated values that we never dreamed they would, and there's some principles that we can talk about.
With insightful teaching and the guidance of a credentialed New Life counselor, this one-day online workshop, Saturday, April 1st, will provide practical advice and hopeful encouragement for navigating the parent-adult-child relationship. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. It's Becky Brown with Dr. Jill Hubbard and JJ West. JJ is our newest radio host. We're so excited that you've joined us, JJ. And
thanks, Becky.
We are featuring a book this month for a gift of any amount to support the ministry. It's Take Your Life Back by Steve Arterburn and Dr. Dave Stoop. And it has the concepts of, working your side of the street. If you've got a relationship or a struggle where you feel like your life is not your own, Take Your Life Back can get you started in the right direction. So you can give us a call. You'll support the ministry and get a great tool to move forward. Right now, we are going to go to the calls, and we're going to continue taking calls. You can call us at 1-800-229-3000. Right now, we're going to talk to Angie, who's calling us from Florida, watches us on YouTube. And like I say all the time, I love our YouTube family. And if you're there, like us, subscribe, and share it with somebody. But right now, we're going to talk to Angie. How can we help you today, Angie?
Hello, ladies. Thank you for taking my call. I love every single one of you. My sister just announced to me that our family, that she's going to marry her partner of a very long time. We were both raised in a Christian family, and we've had a tumultuous relationship, my sister and I. And I love her girlfriend. She's very kind and she's very sweet. But my question is, she asked me to stand up with her at her wedding, and I feel I don't want to. I feel like I'm condoning their relationship. So I don't know what to do.
That is so, it's conflicted, isn't it?
It is.
Mm-hmm.
JJ, do you want to start?
Well, sure. Because, that makes sense. I'm certainly the expert on lesbian relationships. So, Angie, first, what part of Florida do you live in?
Lady Lake.
Lady Lake. Okay, gotcha. I'm in the Orlando area.
Yeah, Lady Lake. You're in the where?
I'm in the Orlando area.
Okay, we're about 40 miles north of you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So my guess is that your sister already knows your views on same-sex relationships. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not something where you've kept that a secret, you've hidden that in any way. You've let that be known. You've lived your life in such a way that she's aware of your religious beliefs, your moral values. And so I understand your feeling that I don't want to walk into a situation where I am condoning sin. And I respect that. You could look at this, I'm going to give you a slightly different framework here. You could look at this as I'm standing up for my sister, who I love, who I have a relationship with. And I'm saying that I love her and I support her, and I want her to know how much I love her. Not that I'm standing up for all of the decisions that she's made, all of the relationships that she's had. I'm standing up for her as a person who is dearly loved and valued by God, and who is dearly loved and valued by me. The additional thing that this may do for you is there may be a scenario down the road where your sister is having a difficult time. Maybe she's even having a difficult time with her partner, because sometimes that happens in marriages. If you are willing to stand up for her in this moment, she may feel safe to come to you in her moments of need. However, if you don't, it may go the other way, that she feels like you're not a person that I can trust in and lean on. Now, that being said, I'm not saying that means you have to go and stand up at the wedding and be part of the wedding party. If I can understand the reasons why that feels as though you're going against your core beliefs, and I don't want you to do that. But I'm just giving you that different framework to see that you're not standing up and saying that you are in full agreement with the way your sister is living her life. You're standing up and saying, I love my sister and I want good for her.
I like that.
Yeah,
okay, Jill?
yeah, that kind of goes along the lines of, I remember years ago hearing someone say that their mother went with them to the abortion clinic, even though she knew her mother was completely against it and had tried to talk her out of it. But in the end, she helped her daughter make her own choice and was with her in a difficult time. Okay, that's a hard one. That's a hard thing to do. So sometimes it's like, okay, we always think about, what could I say? What could I say to change this person's mind? And sometimes we just need to be Jesus to them. Now, that being said, so what does that look like? It looks like all different kinds of things, and Jesus gives us lots of examples of that. At the same time, your sister has got to know that this would be difficult for you, and that standing up might be a difficult thing. I've got more to say about it after the break, Becky.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to cut to break.
Yeah. we can do that. You can hear the music, Angie, but don't go away, because we are going to come back. We're going to continue taking calls too, 1-800-229-3000. You know, relationships are hard. And, you know, if it was easy, everybody could do it. But we all are in relationship anyway, and we work through these difficult things with truth and honesty and a lot of love and a lot of just difficulty. But we're going to help you. We'll be right back.
So much of the enjoyment in my life was centered on food, and I had to get away from that. I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was, and couldn't be asking for better. I'm getting ready to order my third round of clothes.
You can lose weight and keep it off for life, but it involves more than just the latest fad diet or exercise machine. If the underlying emotional, spiritual, and physiological issues aren't addressed, the weight returns.
I had been this low before or lower, and everything that I lost came back and brought friends with them.
The Lose It for Life online workshop deals with all of these aspects with its intensive, comprehensive, and interactive curriculum. This online workshop features Zoom sessions presented by Steve Arterburn on Saturday, March 18th, plus 4 small group process sessions facilitated by a credentialed New Life Network counselor. And fitness expert Michelle Spadafora will lead exercise sessions. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I see a different person now than I used to see.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I have given to New Life regularly because I have so many people that I am referring to New Life who so benefit from the ministry. I just can't imagine what would happen in my area if New Life wasn't available to us.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Prayer, 100 Days of Freedom from Depression, and 100 Days of Peace. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. Like I said, if it's not one thing, it's your family. And so we're talking with Angie, whose sister is marrying her partner, her lesbian partner, and she wants Angie to stand up for her at the wedding. And so just the conflict that comes with doing something that doesn't feel comfortable. Jill,
Right.
you were in the middle of talking with her.
So Angie, I was saying your sister's got to know how you feel. At the same time, for her to ask you, I'm wondering if it's saying, sister, I value you so much that I would want you in this position. And I wonder if it's an ask of giving you that value. And would there be room in your relationship to say, sister, I feel that value from you, that by asking me, you're giving me a place of honor in your life. I'm wondering, however, because I feel conflicted, not about my love for you and your ability to make your own choices, but just in my own faith, could I stand up for you by not standing up front? Could I sit in the front row? Could I help behind the scenes? Could I do other things that would show you how much I love you without putting me in a position where I just feel too conflicted about making a public statement that way? And so is there room to kind of talk about what that might look like? You know, in my example of the mother that took her daughter to the abortion clinic, years later, that woman who had the abortion became a really strong Christian. And her mother's love for her, in spite of that, she really felt like her mother was trying to be Jesus with her and helping her, even though she disagreed. So it's just one example. We don't know how God is going to use things, and it's not always so cut and dry. And right? And sometimes we do need to be worried about appearances, but that's not everything.
Right. Well, and it's the whole concept of speaking the truth in love,
Yes.
Angie, you know, that she knows where you're coming from, but at the same time, it's like, how do I show up as me in this relationship? And I think that is the balance in every relationship, whether it is siblings or parents, like we were talking earlier with our adult kids. But we have to work towards showing up as ourselves in these relationships. I hope that is helpful. JJ, do you have anything else that you wanted to add before we close?
One quick thing. Yeah,
Okay.
one quick thing. Jesus got flack from religious people for hanging out with irreligious people a lot. He went to the places that the religious establishment said, you can't go there if you are a religious teacher, a rabbi, a holy man. You can't go to those places. And so you're following in pretty good footsteps by being willing to go to some places of ill repute in order to love those who are hurting.
I love that. Well, we're going to send you a copy of the 1 Year Bible for Women, Angie, and we appreciate just your heart for loving your sister, and we'll be praying in this situation. You know, every once in a while we do throwback calls, and right now we're going to present a call that John Townsend and Henry Cloud answered many years ago, but it's still relevant today. So, Terry, you want to go ahead and hit play on that?
Hello, Sarah. Welcome to New Life from Louisville, Kentucky. Hi.
I have a little problem. I can say problem because in my part, I never talked to my son about sex or anything.
Yeah. How old is he?
I raised him up. He's 14. He just turned 14 in February.
Where's his daddy?
I don't know.
Don't know?
I don't know, yes.
Okay.
And for that, I raised him all the time. We never missed church all his life. Now, the other day, I went, the world is kind of the world thing. It was a conference, some workshop, and they say if you don't talk to the 14 years old about sex, it will be too late. I say, wow. And I just went home and I say, do you have any idea what this and that? He said, what do you mean? Where did you go? Because he knows me. I don't do that kind of thing. And he said, where did you go today? I say, we just workshop.
He's going, what got into Mom? She comes home and starts talking about sex.
I know. And then I said, that's it. And we didn't discuss. They told me, just blame them to start the talking.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not worried about that. Just forget it. I say, okay. The other day, I heard he got a girlfriend, and he was sneaking and talking, and I listened behind him without knowing him.
Yeah.
And it was totally different world.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm out of somewhere.
Okay.
I don't even understand. And right now, I feel like I have to start.
Okay.
But I don't know how to start.
Okay. This is easy. I'm going to send you a book, and it's called Preparing Your Son for Every Young Man's Battle. And it's got a little part in there that you read to yourself. And then you just read the rest to him. So you don't have to come up with any words or any stuff. You just read it to him. Fred Stoker wrote this out just the way he said it to his boys. And it's great for moms like you who kind of don't know where to start. You just read, and that'll be the beginning of your discussion. And I'll send it to you. And let's get John and Henry to weigh in on this.
Well, the other part of this on a kind of the mom and son level is he's probably going to resist you a little bit. Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And I'm embarrassed, and it's not a dad, and you don't have a dad in the picture, but you're a good mom, okay? And so you don't wait for him to have questions, and you don't wait for a good time for him. When he says drop it, you don't drop it. You say, we're going to have a few meetings about this, and we'll go have some ice cream or whatever, but we're going to talk about it, and you make it happen. And then once he's got the information, there's a part of him that wants mom to explain things because the sexual world, especially today's adolescents, is so scary. And he's hearing crazy stuff, and at his age, I'm sure he's confused. So realize that he'll fight you, but he really needs this.
Yep. It's wonderful that you went to a workshop and they said, hey, get engaged on this. It'll make all the difference in the world.
My son told me the other day that they split up the boys and girls into health class. Kids are in high school. And so the teacher said, okay, how many boys, 20 boys, has your dad talked to you about sex and specific aspects? And out of the 20 boys, 2 had.
2 out of 20.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, I think parents today are just either feeling like, well, either we're overwhelmed or it's somebody else's job or I don't know how to do it. But get in there, and if you do it wrong, you're doing it a lot better than other people are doing it. Do it wrong.
Yeah. My dad made the zipper presentation.
The zipper?
Mm-hmm. Keep that zipped and you have no problem. And that was my sex education. Okay. Well, it was an interesting approach.
Well, you know what? I think a lot of parents today, kind of with the media and everything, I think a lot of parents just assume that their kids already know everything. The problem is that they're not knowing everything in the context of an attachment with the parent and values, because that's where it tends to get, structuralized and internalized.
Right.
And so just because they have the information, the information's got to be plugged into a software of values and fear of God and reality to make all that work.
Yep.
The other thing is a good peer group.
Well,
I talk to parents of teenagers, and John can speak to this a lot better than I can because he has 2 teenage boys. But in my experience as a youth worker, the power, really, so much of the power comes from your ability to get your teens in a good youth group that they enjoy, something they don't have to go to, something they want to go to with really cool leaders, and then they get around peers that are all, pursuing the same thing.
And the mentor youth pastor, the older guy in his 20s or 30s or whatever, is there to make sure the information is shown in a healthy way. And then the kids, now it's a cool way to take it and be a healthy kid rather than the crazy stuff. It's a lot better way to go.
Well, every day, I think anybody in junior high and high school every day they're dealt with either a drinking or a sex or both issue of some sort.
Every day like a temptation or opportunity?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or it comes up in something. And I don't know many things that come up every day like that. So if you're not talking to them about the one thing that comes up just about every day in their lives, you're really disconnecting from them. So you have to jump in there.
We don't want to spend all day on this, but
we can beat this horse.
I'm reminded of. Do you remember how she started her call?
No.
She said that somebody said if you haven't talked to them by the time they're 14, then you're too late. Well,
that's a horrible piece of advice.
It's a horrible thing because every day we talk to people in their 40s and 50s about this. So it's never too late. If you got a kid 15, 16, 17, 18, or 25 or 30 or whatever, everybody walking around still has a pulse and a job from God to, as the Bible says, to be a steward over your body and over your sexuality, and to be able to possess your sexuality in honor, as the way I think it's 1 Thessalonians puts it. And so it's never too late.
That's such a great example of a good heart giving bad advice. It's too late. You know what he's saying. He's wanting you to do something.
He's trying to scare the pre-14-year-olds.
But
what if your kid's 15, you're sitting there listening to that lecture?
Okay, well.
Too late.
Oh, well. Yeah, just let him go.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Stephen Arterburn from New Life Ministries. We know that Christian counseling changes lives. We hear evidence of that every day.
My relationships with my husband, with my friends, with my family are much richer and deeper and honest.
particularly my relationship with God. I see him in a more accurate form and begin to trust him more. There's joy and there's peace because I have the internal tools that I can trust. So it's radically changed my life. I'm just not even the same person.
Our nationwide network of licensed Christian counselors means there is help available near you.
Take the leap, jump in, and go for it. It's changed my life completely.
You don't have to be stuck where you are, but you can't really expect to change unless you take action. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. It could be the start of a whole new life for you. Christian counseling works, and we can help. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE today. Someone who cares is always there at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. You know, if you are like me, you have been listening to New Life Live since the boys were on and since, way back in the dark ages. And, we learned so much from them and it's priceless. It's timeless.
Love
but
them.
I was thinking, JJ, this is the kind of stuff that you guys also deal with at Every Man's Battle, that these men who struggle with sexual integrity, a lot of them, it started way back when they were young men.
Can I just say,
yes.
Okay, if you are talking to your son at 30 years old about the birds and the bees, I disagree with Henry. That's a little late to start, okay? And your 30-year-old is probably not going to be receptive.
Probably not. But truly,
maybe you use
JJ,
a slightly different approach.
A different approach, yes. Not teaching the
or
basics, right?
8. Yes, exactly.
What would you recommend,
especially if they have kids of their own?
Yeah, exactly.
And so what would you recommend, JJ, since this is literally what you guys talk about every month at Every Man's Battle?
Oh, yes. So one of the things they said there that I so appreciate is, okay, do it wrong. It better to do it wrong than not at all.
Right.
We say at the workshop, anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. And what we mean by that is when you first start out, you're going to do it poorly. With any new thing, new hobby, learning a new language, learning a new instrument. When you first start out, you're going to do it poorly. Of course you will. But if it's worth doing, then you work your way through the poor stage to get to better.
Yeah.
So do it poorly, not avoid doing it at all because you're afraid you won't be able to do it well.
Go ahead.
Oh,
can I give you an example of doing it poorly? So years ago, we're on a family vacation. I've got my nephew and my son. And I'm like, okay, boys, and I'm a single mom. I'm like, okay, boys, we're going to have a little Bible study time, and I brought out preparing for Every Young Man's Battle. And so I spent time reading that with them. To this day, oh my gosh, my nephew is mortified, right? I can't believe my aunt is talking to me about these things. But, so I just jumped in and, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and to your point, JJ.
And they will remember that.
Oh, they do.
So,
yes.
Right, that when they're adults thinking about the need to talk to their own children, they'll remember back to, man, my aunt was loving enough to have an incredibly awkward conversation
Boy, was it.
with me, right? But she was willing to do that. And I mean, I think about my own story and how I didn't have the birds and the bees talk with either of my parents. The closest I came was about a 2-minute conversation with my dad where he was trying to explain to me what a condom was, only because the adults at the furniture store that my parents owned were all talking about the fact that there were going to be condom commercials on TV. And I'm, like 10 years old going, what's a condom? And,
gosh.
There's total silence, right? And my mom was like, okay, you're up. And so later on in the day, my dad tries to describe to me what a condom was. And again, it was like a 2-minute conversation at most. It was incredibly awkward. And that was it. That was the extent of my sexual education from my parents. So I would much rather have had them attempt to do it poorly than not at all. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. That is the truth for so many things. A lot of times we say we're not going to go to therapy because I can't find the right therapist. I'm not going to go to group because the group isn't right. And so even when we're attacking
I'm not going to go to church because I can't find the perfect church.
Exactly.
Where there aren't hypocrites.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, looking for the perfect church until you show up, and then it's
Right,
imperfect because you're not perfect. But it does speak volumes to, just that resistance to kind of stumble along. And Jill, you get Mother of the Year for even wading into that, what a brave woman you are. And and I love that your nephew is still mortified by it, but guess what? You're in his thoughts.
Right. But you know what? Years later, he said to me, Aunt Jill, if you didn't bring up God, I don't know if anyone else would. And so that just meant so much to me. Like sometimes we just take the risk and we be the one that's a little bit awkward that they, sometimes make jokes about. I don't care. Right. We're going to wade into those waters.
Yeah. I tell you, it is. Yeah, exactly. Humbly attempt to.
You do it humbly. You say, this is going to be a train wreck, or I don't know what I'm doing. This is, but I know it's important, and so I'm going to try because I love you.
Yeah. And even in one of our calls earlier today, I think it was Elizabeth who was talking about her stepdaughter and that relationship. When we approach those conversations with, I'm really not sure how to say this. I'm really not sure how to do this, and I want you to hear my heart before you hear anything I have to say. And, the intention is there to do good, to speak the truth in love, like we mentioned earlier, and to stumble along in an effort to connect. And, with our kids today, we cannot risk someone else trying to tell them how the world works, because they will tell them. And and I think that's taking a great risk. Now, JJ, before we run out of time, do you have children in the home still? I don't even know that about you yet.
I have an 18-year-old who is a senior in high school, will graduate in a couple months, and then be headed off to college.
Okay.
And I have an older son who's already out of the house in college, graduating this year as well.
Okay, and they're both stellar. You've done it perfectly, right?
Oh, clearly, yes. I mean, oh no. It's funny. I told my daughter the other day that she's welcome to invite my wife and I into therapy anytime she needs to tell us all the ways that we screwed up as parents.
Beautiful.
So,
That's beautiful. I tell you, well, the reason why I asked you that is because I think that's going, towards that idea that we are all human. We are all in need of a savior. Jill, you were talking about the significance of today's date.
Today is John 3:16 day, right? So March 16th, it's a day to think about that, to think about what Christ did for us. And that's the crux of our whole faith, right? For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whoever believeth in him will have eternal life.
I love that. It's a great thing to remember. And as you look at the calendar or a clock or something that says 3:16, you'll be reminded of that, and maybe share that with somebody along the way. We always want to encourage you to share the program. We're trying to help so many people. And part of what we do is we offer scholarships for our workshops. And, with Every Man's Battle, we have a testimony that he said, I thank the ministry for a life-changing event. I feel I can finally be free of an addiction of 60 years. And this was a scholarship recipient, and you made it possible. We're always trying to help so many people, and it comes at a cost. And if you have been helped by New Life, I just want to encourage you, make a call today and make a donation, or join Club New Life. We have our Club New Life is our monthly giving family who just really support so many things that we do. And so you can just make that step forward to help someone else find the life that they have in front of them. In just a couple of weeks, we're going to have Henry Cloud join us on the program for March 27th and March 28th. And we're looking forward to having Henry back on the air. If you have any questions about anything, we're here to help. in any way possible. So you can give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We always take calls for the radio program, 1-800-229-3000. We're so glad that you joined us, JJ. Do you have anything to say as we send off? I'm glad for you too, Jill. And I just wanted to welcome
Thanks,
JJ.
Becky. Yes.
This is his first time out.
Yes, yay, JJ.
Yes.
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on the program with you, to be on a program that has had luminaries like, Henry Cloud and John Townsend and all these others that, it's quite humbling to even be a part
It
of.
really is. Well, we're glad you're here. Thanks again.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.